What up, YouTube? This is Daniel Rucker with Truth Table. Welcome to the table. Today, I'm going to be discussing something that I believe needs to be touched on. And I'm going to piece it together. It is something that is primarily focused on my community, the Black community. And my disclaimer is that for those listeners who are not necessarily a part of the Black community or not Black people, that is not to say that you cannot participate nor enjoy this particular broadcast. I actually welcome it. But I wanted to put that out there. One, I wanted to be very clear to make sure that you understand me as a person. I am not someone who, just because I am a Black man, speak to only Black issues. I try my best to speak to people issues and things that plague people collectively. So that's my disclaimer. But before I get started, before I get in the kitchen, before I get cooking, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I know it's been a few days since I have broadcasted and put a new video out, so I apologize. I am trying to, again, balance my schedule between the new ventures and, putting out the content, but I am not going anywhere. I am here to stay. So you guys will continue to see my face. So get used to it. Get used to it, right? But okay, I am reacting to a video from a content creator by the name of Oshay Jackson. And for those that are familiar with Oshay, shout out to my brother. I enjoy his content collectively. Overall, I like what he's doing. I like the things that he talks about. I like the things that he speaks about. Now, I'm not going to particularly add the part of the video on this broadcast. What I will do is leave a link to the description of the video. I'm just going to talk about it because I believe it does need to be discussed. The topic was, why is it that Black athletes and Black men of prestige pretty much seem to always date out? That was what the video's overall premise was. And like I said, I'm leaving a link to the description so you can check it out at your own leisure. But I wanted to talk about it. And the main reason I want to talk about it is because there were certain things he said in the video that to me were very problematic. Now, why do you feel this way, Daniel? I think that one particular thing that plagues my community is that families are broken. And a lot of times, trying to get Black men and Black women to operate in relationships is fairly difficult because there's no imagery of it. There's no example of it. A lot of times, most of my community are growing up in single parent households. That's just the reality. Now, why is that important? That's important because the blueprint and the foundation of something helps to give a sort of support as well as experience on how to do this thing correctly. One of the things he said specifically, which is what led me to want to make this video, was that he used this particular NBA star by the name of Jalen Suggs, who's, I guess, fairly been drafted to the NBA, and he used the words eligible bachelor. Now, I do understand what the word eligible bachelor means. But I guess what I took from it was, why is it that in my community particularly, the only men that seem to qualify as eligible are the ones who are attached to some level of superstar status? You don't hear often people, specifically in my community, male or female, give credence to men that exemplify great characteristics, that exemplify great character, great nature, goodness, structure, discipline, growth, maturity. What seems to always be the focal point is status and money. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about one of the reasons why I believe my community specifically suffers from getting connected when it comes to the male and the female and there being a cohesiveness in the relationships is that a lot of times it's the propaganda and the advertisement that you are only of quality if you stand or you're connected to some level of position and status. I'm here to tell you that I believe that's BS. The core reality of most relationships that are successful, that are outside of the black community, those people are not famous. Those people do not hold any high office. Those people do not hold any particular, uber skill set or superior educational track that yields them more of a social currency and quality to be more eligible. No, what they do is they grow to a point of their full potential, whatever that may be, whether that's in healthcare, whether that's in, engineering, whether that's in medicine, whether that's in mechanics. It doesn't matter. These individuals that are outside of my community don't seem to have a problem marrying people that are on their economical level. And what I mean by that, give you a prime example, the Latin community. I don't often hear or see that Latin women are only interested in being with men that hold a position of status, that hold a position of superior range of authority, or some level of, like I said, more so just status, just to keep it simple, just status. And what they seem to focus on is the character of the man. One, mainly the culture, but definitely what does he do? Is he working? Is he dependable? Is he someone that, treats me good? Is he someone that we could connect on the fibers and the things that matter to, if we do decide to have a family, we can build together? Do I know that he's gonna go and get the resources necessary to take care of his family? And a lot of times that's more normal than it is not normal in most other communities. Another community that I observed doing the same thing is the Asian community. A lot of their couples are not super rich people. They're not people who are, famous or in politics or anything like that. A lot of times they have decent jobs, whether they go into medicine or work at the post office or whatever, but they work together. Then comes my community. My community has a whole set of issues when it comes to doing something as simple as trying to be together. And I think one of the reasons why is just from what Oshay highlighted on this particular video, that the focal point was the fact that the young man was an NBA star. The focal point was that he, just so happened to share in being a black man, and he chose to date a white girl. And he said it as it's a problem because why is it that these particular men, and I think that's a problem. I don't think that it shouldn't be the outlook that just because he's an NBA star makes him a good partner. See, a lot of times a person's ability does not make it for transferable skills into a relationship. I was actually just with a friend of mine moments ago, and one of R. Kelly's tracks came across, the stereo, and we're bobbing our head to it, and I'm just like, what's so crazy is that this man is extremely talented. He has made hit after hit, song after song. He changed the culture. He changed the landscape of quality music in his era, right? And he has some issues, characteristic issues. He has desires that a lot would say that are not integral. But that doesn't limit him from being a talented individual. Talent doesn't belong to the morally stable. Talent doesn't belong to those who align their lives with good characteristics. No, neither does success. A person can be successful financially. A person can be successful through their discipline and their practice, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a quality person. That doesn't mean that they're someone who is going to be a good husband or a good wife, a communicator, or someone who knows how to solve problems, raise a family, support a family. And one of the things that is bothersome for me, specifically being a man as well as being a black man, is that a lot of times our community holds back their practice in getting together because they operate on this fallacy that they're going to run into this person who's going to be absolutely amazing, that they're going to be gorgeous or handsome. They're going to be educated, spiritual, hardworking, good in bed, knows how to balance a checkbook, knows how to fight, but can go to an all-white ball party or a presidential party, knows how to dance, knows how to cook. Like, my community operates in deep levels of delusion, and specifically our women. And that was what Oshay was talking about, in the sense that, you know, why is it that these men, it seems to be a practice that these men who are coming out the NBA or coming out the NFL are going after women that don't look like them? I can't answer that. You know, I believe that people collectively should date who they feel or believe is best suited for their lifestyle, their desires, their wants, their needs, and who's going to treat them the best. And that should not belong specifically to the fact that our commonality may be we from the same community. You know, that's one of the things that I know as myself, you know, I've struggled with, because me being a black man, yeah, I may connect with you on the fact that we're both black, but my mindset and your mindset may not align. It may not be that just because we share the same heritage, in a sense, that we belong together in a relationship, because those are interconnected parts. There's more things that are mental characteristic practices that come when you talk about, there are bigger things that come with connecting with the person you want to be with than just the fact that you may come from the same cultural background. And my main issue with what Oshay was promoting in this video particularly is that it was being presented in a way that these men are being siphoned out of the community, and also the women that are in our community are not having the opportunities to date these particular men, which is not something that you can state as the norm, because those particular people who are even in positions to be NBA stars or NFL stars or celebrities or famous in that sense are such a small percentage of the overall human population, period, that they shouldn't, in my opinion, be a focal point of the disparity in the community that is black people, in the relationships that are black people. What should be promoted is that you should be looking for men that are quality men. You should be looking for men that have characteristics, a moral compass, disciplines, aspirations, dreams, and things that are going to be more stable in a way of building a partnership, building a relationship, and building a life. And you're going to find that more often than you're going to find someone who's in the NBA, who has, you know, a wide range of financial resources. And that's why, personally, I was triggered by that particular video, because most of his stuff, if not all of his stuff, I support. This particular one I did not support, mainly because I believe that it's problematic. A lot of what sometimes happens in the communication that is delivering things to people, especially in this space, and specifically with my community, is that it's not often talked about that you should be focused on those characteristics. When you're looking for a quality man, ladies, you know, you should be looking for the man. You should be looking for, yes, what he does, what he's aiming to do, what he has done, what he is showcasing as the person he is. The problem a lot of times is that our community stacks these standards of these exceptional characteristics in order for them now to say, okay, I'll date him if he's 6'3", you know, 190 pounds, beautiful straight white teeth, you know, athletic, sexy, makes great money. most of the time, those things do not cross over into what makes for a great relationship, what makes for great partners. And the majority of the time, when you look at all of the other communities, from our white brothers and sisters to our Asian brothers and sisters, our Indian brothers and sisters, and so on, when you look at the vast majority of their relationships that are successful, that are thriving, those people don't necessarily look like anything special. They're not an overly handsome man with an overly gorgeous woman and vice versa. Most of the time, they're regular people. They look regular. They may be attractive to each other, but when you look at them, you're not like, oh my gosh. You're not, hit over the head with their aesthetics. And in our community, that seems to always be one of the many deceptive practices that I think that keep our community from connecting on that level, is that it always has to be so physical in a way that, well, I'm only gonna sign up to be this man's woman and submit to him if he looks like this and makes this kind of money. Then now I can be a quality woman to him. And then men on the same token, saying, well, I'm only gonna be the type of man I need to be if she comes with Coke bottle shape, and overly, in shape or whichever, which I totally understand. Men want their women to be in shape. I get it. But everybody's not gonna be an Olympian in a sense. I believe a person should be aiming for their absolute level of their best, whatever they may look like. And the point that I'm trying to drive is that in my community specifically, these things need to stop being promoted as like the black community is being robbed, when you have some of our talented brothers that are excelling in athletics, that are excelling in their celebrity, and they're deciding not necessarily to date or marry a black woman. They don't account for the majority. So in my honest opinion, it shouldn't even be a mention. And then the times that we actually do have brothers that are successful, that do remain in the community with their, black sisters, I don't never hear nobody talk about Obama. I don't never hear it. I never hear any of the content creators or any news media talk about that man and that woman and their particular connection. I always hear it being, watered down to celebrities or athletes. Like, what's wrong with saying, sister, you should be looking for a man who, say, going into politics, you should be looking for a man who is, into theology. There's so many black women that are married to men that are doing fairly well, that are in theology, that are preachers, that are deacons, that are, teachers and pastors or whichever. You don't ever hear that talked about. It's not celebrated the same way. The only time our community seems to get excited about relationships, the only time that you hear women, and then in some cases men, talk about the kind of relationship you should be chasing, is if there's a humongous bag attached to it, or a much of status attached to it. And I'm sorry, I don't subscribe to that. People need to realize life in itself is choice driven, and that you should be aiming to create the best life that you're capable of creating. You may not ever be famous. You may not ever be an NBA star or an NFL star. That's okay. That should not rule you out of being a quality choice for a woman. If you're a man growing to be the best version of yourself, that should not eliminate your options for being an eligible bachelor, as Oshay stated, because you don't work for an NBA team. You're not an athlete. That's nonsense. I don't subscribe to it. And I think that to continue to promote that is what keeps a lot of the division within the community. I'm very disappointed by Oshay with this particular video, because I can't believe that it was a focal point of his position and his argument on it. If you gathered up all of the NBA players and all of the NFL players, and you ran the statistics on them, when you talk about the community at large, they account for less than 5%. Drastically. They account for less than 1%. So why are they held to such a level of prestige to now state that it matters if they stay in the community or don't stay in the community? If every single one of them dated a woman that wasn't black, we would still have millions of brothers who are available to date black women and to continue to promote the race and grow the race. So I wanted to talk about that specifically, and I may do a number 2 because I'm going a little long today, because there's times I'm gonna do videos like this, and for those, like I said at the beginning, for those who are not necessarily from the black community, I don't want you to feel alienated at all. The content is the content, but there are going to be some things specifically that I'm going to target that are primarily, plaguing my community, and this is one of them, because I don't believe that any other community suffers from this particular practice. Other communities seem to have it okay when it comes to making their life choices, especially when it comes to being with people. I've been around more couples and interacted with more couples that aren't necessarily uber successful people, but they have a great life. They have quality life. They love each other. They value each other. They respect each other. They've been married 10, 15, 20 years. And both of them have regular jobs and do regular stuff. They aspire to create that oneness. They aspire to create stability in a family structure. Neither one of them belong on a Forbes list. Neither one of them have, magazine covers, anything like that. They're regular people. And in my community specifically, needs to stop chasing this level of fame and this status to make that be what is going to be the difference in quality relationships. That's nonsense. If you open your eyes and pay attention to the celebrities that are famous, that are black, that are married, a lot of them don't even stay together. Kanye just got divorced not too long ago. Dr. Dre just got divorced not too long ago. The list goes on. So that should tell you, regular people, that being a celebrity doesn't make you immune to the drama that is life. What you should be aspiring to do is to find someone that values you and loves you at your level, and you guys work it out on your level. That's my 2 cents about it. Like I said, I may do a number 2. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I know it went a little long. I'm over 20 minutes or so now, but I wanted to touch on this particular subject. Like I said, the link, I left a link in the description of the video in its entirety, so feel free to check it out and let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you guys' feedback. I'm gonna go ahead and slide out the kitchen, and until next time, this is Daniel Rucker signing out. Thank you.